ladies. It's Miss P. I am here with Anika, holistic coach. We've been on a journey to discovering what the heck is going on in my life and in my body. Why am I so tired? Why do I have brain fog? Why can't I sleep? Why am I getting fluffy? All of these symptoms, originally thinking it was one thing, today we are discovering it's something else. After working with you and after paying attention finally to my body, I think I'm in perimenopause. And I think that my fatigue and brain fog uh, are attributed to that. I don't think it's my thyroid. My thyroid is still working. I think it's perimenopause. And all of the doctors I've been to, three an endocrinologist, one rheumatologist, two OBGYNs, and one primary, literally told me, I don't know why you're so tired and I don't know why you have brain fog. But I'm like, wait a minute. I know why. It's perimenopause. I feel like I've just had a aha moment
Mm-hmm.
after 3, 4 years of why am I so tired? Why can't I remember? Why am I getting fluffy?
Mm-hmm.
What is happening? Why do I need to take a nap in the day? Well, I'm 45. I shouldn't be napping. 85, yes, I get it. You need a nap. So I want to thank you because you are the one who opened up my eyes to this and you started talking to me about the bioidentical hormones. And because of that, I started to research and open up my mind to maybe this is not the thyroid. Maybe this is not the Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Maybe this is something else. And I think it's perimenopause. And I want to thank you because I was even considering seeing a neurologist. Do I have pre-dementia? Is Alzheimer's coming for me? That's how scared I was. I even talked to my psychiatrist and he told me you should see a neurologist about this. It's
Mm-hmm.
freaking perimenopause, you idiots. I'm
Hello.
not trying to be mean, but you spent how long in med school? How many years in residency? How much time did you spend on menopause? One day?
Mm-hmm.
Menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause is affecting millions of us, millions, and you don't
Every
know anything
single
about it.
day. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Like it's a travesty. It's,
Yeah.
it's, but we all know about erectile dysfunction and Viagra.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
thanks for letting me get that off my chest. What say you on this whole topic?
Like you said, yes, perimenopause. Not, it is coming up to the surface more and more now. People are talking about it, but it's still kind of in the conventional medicine where they don't want to admit that it actually can start, in your mid 30s. And I recently did a video about that it actually, for a lot of women, it can start right after pregnancy, and nobody talks about it. No. So if you are, in your mid 30s, late, somewhere like I was, do check your hormones because there's so many of, women, just like you said, not knowing that they have hit perimenopause and their doctors are prescribing antidepressants or, you know, yeah, exactly. A lot of other, I don't know, medications that is not fixing the root cause of the anxiety or the mood swings or the hair loss or the, panic attacks, thoughts racing around in your mind, feeling like you are going, being a dementia crazy lady, whatever. But
Waking up at
really,
2 and 3 in the morning every night for no reason.
yes,
Hello,
yes.
everyone. Hello, world.
Hmm. So really check
Crazy.
your hormones because sometimes after pregnancy at that age, the hormones just won't follow up and they keep, they will be low, especially like estrogen. And that's where the hormone imbalance, comes in. So it's not just adding in one hormone. You really need to know where you are in at life, what happened, where in perimenopause are you in the beginning, or in the, where you are at. You need to know. So yes, unfortunately, it's known, but it's not known. So it's coming.
And
So
because of that, because the conventional doctors, many of them are not paying attention, they're prescribing and diagnosing, misdiagnosing. So I was with a psychiatrist. I went on Prozac for a few years when the pandemic hit and my son got cancer.
yeah,
It was a hard time. I had circumstantial depression. I needed Prozac at that time. It was a really, it was hard for me to feel good. And the Prozac did help me to function. I got
yeah,
off the Prozac and I started feeling angry again, flustered, thoughts of, I made a mistake. What am I doing? What is my life? And I went back on the Prozac. But I'm realizing now the Prozac is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor,
yeah,
which serotonin is affected when you're going through perimenopause. I don't need to be on Prozac. I need the perimenopause, the hormones to be addressed. That's the root cause. I'm not depressed. I don't,
mm-mm,
I'm not suffering from depression. I'm suffering from perimenopause and the fluctuations of the hormones. The challenge is when you get your hormone levels checked, unless you do it consistently for a few days in a row, you can't really tell if someone's in
no,
perimenopause. And most doctors won't have you do blood work several days in a row. They do one sample and they base everything off of that. And that doesn't work. Um, it's I'm dumbfounded, like a little bit dumbfounded. And I want to tell you also, Anika, you brought up a good point. Any women out there, any moms who had babies later in life, mid 30s, okay? I had mine at 36 and 37. I'll tell you, I never recovered from that.
no,
I never went back to Portia after I gave birth to my first child. Why? I got pregnant again, had a second child, and my hormones never got back to what they were because
mhm,
of perimenopause, because I was 37, 38, and it takes time for your body to recover. But I was at
mhm,
an older age. So my body was like, oh girl, oh girl. And
mhm,
I thought I had postpartum depression, which isn't is directly related to your hormones.
yeah,
But the challenge is I wasn't treated for that. And so my
exactly.
hormones never got a chance to get back on track because they aren't supposed to in your
Mm,
40s. They're already starting to decline. They're already starting to fluctuate. So
exactly.
it's been 6 years, Anika, and now I see the big picture. And I trust my
You're not the
body
only
and I know
one.
my symptoms and
Yeah.
you and your guidance. I trust you. And I've researched and I've read and I see the correlation between my symptoms and what the root cause is. So I believe that I'm suffering from symptoms of perimenopause, not symptoms of depression from a brain imbalance or from symptoms of the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which means hypothyroid, thyroid slowing down.
I'm going to interrupt you a little bit there. Yes,
Yeah.
of course,
Mhm.
the thyroid hormones are out of balance because there's other things that are out of balance, just like your microbiome, or if you like been eating food that your body just at this point won't tolerate or you're sensitive to, so it starts to attack it itself. So yes, there's a part of the thyroid, but you need to rebalance your hormones that has been out of balance for many many years. And you have also been through a lot of mental stress, life that has happened, with your
Yes.
son and all other things that you have been through. So there is no wonder that your body has, thrown to a roller coaster of hormonal imbalances with your thyroid hormones and your, estrogen, progesterone after pregnancy. and a leaky gut, on top of that with brain fog and severe fatigue. So there's no wonder that you have been feeling like you have. And just like you told me, you were on a lot of energy drinks in the beginning just to get through the day. And you're definitely not the only one on this earth of women who try to keep up with everything. And what do? You grab for energy drink, or you drink lots of coffee during the day just to, get through the day in it, whatever you have, household, kids, husband, everything, So, and, just saying this, I'm not blaming, because I know I've been there myself. I know I was a heavy coffee drinker many years ago. Give me it. So,
Yeah.
um, and realizing just like you that, hey, wait a minute, this is not the way to go through, the day. You should be enjoying your day, having your energy, and pausing and, look at people in Spain taking it mañana. Hey, take a rest. It's okay to have a day to do nothing. But today's world is like, do this, do this, do this, go here, boom, 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 all day long. That's insane. We are not designed, we're not robots, we're humans, and our bodies change, but it doesn't mean when you get older that it has to be, looking being like an 80-year-old when you're 40. There's 80 years old women, men who are very vital, have a lot of energy. Yes. So it depends on how you take care of you. Your body is your castle. Okay. We need to tune in and let ourselves, just be. It's okay.
I love
Sit, read a
you.
book, take it easy.
You're amazing. Yeah,
You
it's
too.
true. Implementing these little strategies too of stopping, and if it's time to eat, just
Yeah.
eat. Don't be eating and scrolling your phone, eating and typing on the computer, eating and driving. I'm like the worst
Mhm.
of that. That's when I like eat. It's not good, try to enjoy our time here and getting the rest you need. And if you do need a nap, you take a little nap.
Yeah. It's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You
I'm
are not
so
a bad
thankful.
or person. Yeah, you are. It's just the opposite. Are, that's where you are taking care of you. If you do that, you will have the energy to take care of others. But a lot
So
of
grateful for
people,
you,
women,
Anika. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
grateful
so
for you
grateful for
too.
you.
But all this
It's,
comes from experience,
yeah.
a hard
And you've done this
experience.
for yourself. You've helped
Yeah.
yourself and in turn helped your family because happy wife, happy life. That's what
Hmm.
I try to tell people. Mama's
Hmm.
crazy right now and we're kind of the nucleus, we kind of run the household, in the end. So
Hmm.
I know. I'm so grateful for you because you've helped. I feel that I have a breakthrough, that now I know what the root causes. I really believe that I'm in perimenopause and that if I can treat that, that my symptoms are going to get better. Yes, I still have to address the hypothyroidism, and I am. Yes, I have to address some things like having anxiety and da da da, because I've always had those items since I was young. But these new symptoms that are, I would say, debilitating, having to
Hmm.
sleep after teaching my belly dance classes. I mean, I can't just go sleep, but I literally conk out. Even if I drink two cappuccinos, doesn't matter, right to bed. That's not
Hmm.
healthy. I would say that's not normal. Once in a while, wanting to take a nap, sure. But having to because you are oblivious to the world, that to me is a red flag. Not being able to
Hmm.
remember things, not okay. Sometimes I'm driving and I'm like, where am I going? What day is it today? And
Hmm.
then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not safe, you know? And then, of
Hmm.
course, getting more personal, like libido. I have zero libido as the child
Hmm.
enters the room. Oh, no, that's not a child. Is that your husband? Just so you know, Portia has no libido. Just kidding. Anyway, which
I think it's like,
look,
"Ah, get
I've
on
never
out of
been
here."
super libido-ish, but having a little
Well,
drive
that's
is
good for your
nice.
hormones. Yeah.
Zero. Like I'm like, get away from me. I could live on a
Mm-hmm.
deserted island for the rest of my life and be perfectly happy in that department.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's healthy. Mm-mm. So,
There's that's a big issue or thing for a lot of women and relationships, because, the hormones that are declining and they're going, what the beep is happening? And, when women get back, their hormones back to the levels that there should be, or, with your body, they're like, oh my God. I had a client, I don't know if I told you about her, without talking about her that way, but she came back, just like you, struggling for 5, 6 years with fatigue after pregnancy, um, didn't recognize herself, you know, terrible anxiety, panic attacks, couldn't pick up her kid at school, because her body was, in this fight and flight mode and freeze. She's now 40 plus, a little bit over, and she's like, she got her HRT, by identical hormones, and came back like a month, after. And she's like, oh my God, I feel like a woman again. I'm back. I'm like, yes.
you're
Mm-hmm.
amazing. She wouldn't have
Struggle
known,
for
we wouldn't have known it
6 years.
without you. I wouldn't have known this. I would have continued to think it's this or that. So thank you.
Yeah.
And so now is the treatment. And I do want to explore hormone replacement therapy, HRT, bioidentical hormones per your, this is what the functional medicine holistic community is saying is the best bet. And that's what I'm going to pursue. And you know what's interesting, Anika? I talked to several of my students. I've got a lot
Mm-hmm.
of ladies that are 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s.
Yeah.
And I made a comment the other day in class, and I'm like, because I was sweating. We hadn't even started dancing, and I had a whole ring of armpit sweat. I was like, welcome, just so you know, perimenopause over here. And I made a few
Mm-hmm.
comments like, yeah, life has been fantastic. If your teacher forgets something, or like, I don't know what day it is, or if I'm sweating profusely, just perimenopause, pay no mind. And several
Mm-hmm.
of them after class came up to me and they said, Portia, we've been through it. Just so you know, HRT changed my life. One lady told me it changed her life overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Another lady told me after 3 days, she was back to herself.
Yeah.
And another lady shared with me that, she went from no libido to back to being herself. And she was like, it took me a little bit to get to the right levels with my
Mm-hmm.
doctor, but I swear by it. And these women are all in their, I would say like late 50s, 60s even. Well,
Mm-hmm.
50s now. They've been on that, they're talking back in the day, a few
Yeah.
years ago. So I, girl, let's see what happens. I'm gonna do
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm gonna do it.
So what we're going to do is, rebalancing hormones and continue working with your gut.
Yeah,
Yes. So I wanted to make sure that you kind of land a little bit in this, because I know it's, kind of a roller coaster when you begin your journey, and a lot of, when you begin in, coaching, you get like, huh, is she really telling me the truth? Is it really like this? You go skeptical, and you're skeptical on your, self and all that. And until you realize that's exactly what I wanted to see now, you need to realize it yourself, to see it. Okay. I see the things now. I see the whole picture now. I get it.
I
So
do.
now you're
See
there.
the whole picture now, thanks to you.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a
So,
process, it takes a little getting to know your body, recording some things on paper, even tracking the period and the migraines,
mhm.
seeing the correlation, all of it. It's
Mhm.
been it's been a few months, but now I feel empowered and I'm ready to address from a
Mhm.
place of fact. I'm not just
Mm.
guessing. I've paid attention with your guidance, and I'm super grateful because I want to feel better. I don't want to, I don't want to spend the rest of my life like this. And I hear it gets worse as the hormones completely diminish. I know aging is part of life, and I'm not trying to not age. What I'm trying to do is manage my livelihood here, and that's quality of life, if you will. Not
Mhm.
lifespan, but health span. And I want to continue to teach belly dance, have the energy to raise my kids and be present in my marriage. And hormones are a big one, man. They control everything. So if they're not
Mhm.
right, how can anyone expect me to be right? How can I
Exactly.
function well if my body's not working? It's like a car with, it's got gas, but it has no oil. It's going to overheat and it's going to
Yeah.
smoke and eventually it's not going to run. I mean,
No,
it'll work for
exactly.
a little while, but
Hmm.
eventually it's going to break
It's gonna
down.
start
So,
coughing, feel like this.
yeah.
So,
So,
yeah, just like you said, a lot of people also think, okay, it's just, hormones. I'm gonna tell you, it's not just hormones. It is hormones controls your cortisol. It is your adrenaline. It is your liver. It is your T4, T3, and your thyroid hormones. It is your gut function, and it is your, like I said, it's your adrenals. But when estrogen declines, it starts to kind of go in balance with your cortisol too. It pushes up and it goes down, and that's what increases anxiety. It's all of these things. And also, talking about bloating, estrogen is also an anti-inflammatory hormone. Not many people know that. Yes. So when that declines, our immune system takes a toll on that too. And progesterone that, helps with sleep and all that. So there's so many things going on with women with these hormones. So no wonder men feel lost when we hit certain age. They're like, where did my wife go? You
and I
know?
think that's why a lot of people get divorced at this age
Hmm. Hmm.
because the women are like, screw you, I'm done. They have no
Hmm.
patience. They don't care. The men are like, she won't be intimate with me. She hates me.
Hmm.
And then they're, and that's
Hmm.
about the time the kids leave for college. Not everybody, but I see it a lot. Kids are
Hmm.
finally out of the house and they're like, we're out. And
Hmm.
I think it's because the woman has changed and it's not her, it's the hormones,
Yeah,
you know? I
exactly.
love you.
And to remember also, it's not just the physical, it's also really hard, it's a mental thing too.
Yeah.
Um, and just like you said, you felt, depressed, although you had, your past, all that, but you need to know the root cause. Why
Yeah.
you need to increase the serotonin? Is there a real depression going on? Is there, leaky gut going on? Is there an autoimmune disease disturbing your microbiome balance? You really need to dive into this. Now, I know from the beginning where you ditched out the caffeine and all that, you told me just pretty fast you felt better. Just to tell people out there that if they're wondering, will it take like 6 months? Well, it depends. It all depends how severe your um how I don't want to say disease, but I would like to say like um
Dysfunction,
problem or
maybe,
issue, or yeah, what it
like your
is.
dysfunction.
Yeah, exactly. It depends, are you completely burned out? Is your cortisol flat plateau? It takes time to come back.
Right.
It all depends on it, and
Yeah.
how accountable you are.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. It's true. So let's see what happens. I made an appointment with my doctor and I have all the questions you gave me so that I'm prepared to ask for what I want. and explain why and let's see how it goes.
Yeah. The best thing is, you can also, in functional medicine, you can do saliva testing also to check your hormones if your doctor won't listen. I'm going from experience from both clients and myself, both done, blood work to see, and done saliva testing. Believe me, I've done the whole 9 yards just to see that it is, real. I always do that. So, comparing, say, okay, yes, it really shows. But like you said, in perimenopause, you may not see that when if you are in the beginning. That's why you need to go with your symptoms and looking at like your menstrual app, your cycle, looking at how you're feeling, if you're going up and down like this, and not like in your teenage years when you say you have your ovulation and boom, your estrogen is up and you go down. That's exactly in perimenopause too. But one thing that really changes is when your, period comes and your estrogen, I'm writing with a pen here, is going, down, and it's supposed to go up right after, pretty fast when you're young. But when younger, we're young anyway. But it doesn't. It'll stay down, and you feel so fatigued because your progesterone and your estrogen is low now, and suddenly around like day 5, 6-ish, somewhere there, it suddenly peaks. And you feel like, yay, I can do anything, and you're, doing your belly dance or whatever. And suddenly day 8, 9, you're like, boom, again. Okay. So that's the roller coaster. You're like, what is going on? And you feel flat, you're fatigued, you need sleep, you need to take naps, and naps to increase that energy again. Okay, like 20 minutes, not so it won't disturb your night, sleep. And to increase again from to your, ovulation. So, really goes like this, up and down, instead of going steady up to your ovulation like in your teenage years. That's the difference. So if you don't know your cycle, get an app, write it down, and look at it. What is going on? Write everything down. Migraines, whatever. Feeling weepy, sweaty, if you're bloated or anything, just to see if there is an autoimmune disease also in this picture. So there's so many things to look at.
Amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So when I'm in class, it's like a freeing moment because I can't think
Mm,
about tired or think about brain fog. I can only think about the moves and giving the instruction. So it's like a form of meditation and it's empowering
mm,
because I'm feeling better, they're feeling good. But then when class is over, my body slows down and then I start to again recognize these symptoms because they're in my face, and
mhm,
I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel good throughout the day. Doesn't mean I have to feel perfect. No one is going to get away from age and aches and pains, but there's treatment for a reason. And there's things we
mm.
can do that can alleviate symptoms and improve our quality of life. And that's the whole point.
That's what I'm always looking for, in women. Where are you at? Is it your adrenals? Are you stressed out? Have you had pregnancy? Is there a trauma going on? Okay. Is there a leaky gut? You need to address all of these things to work with you, even though you never perhaps get 100% to the root cause, but you are working with the whole endocrine system and the body as whole and the person.
I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I haven't
There
felt
really
this way in a long time. And I'm excited about moving forward with HRT and let's see what happens. I have a good feeling that's it. I'm pretty confident that's what it is.
it's a combo.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's other things, but I feel like I've been
That,
misdiagnosed and I'm
yeah,
treating the wrong
yeah,
thing.
because that will start lifting you. Okay. That's why I'm bombarding you with this. You need to get
Right,
started so it starts to lift your,
right.
body into a better balance. so you don't have to have these roller coasters all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and like you
Yeah.
say, when you have the lash out to your husband, all that, that's this hormones talking. Hmm.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save a marriage. Get on HRT.
Save the exactly. Save yourself, I would
Save
actually say.
yourself.
Save yourself.
And I'm super, you know me, I'm like anti-meds, but at this point, I'm like, wait a minute. If I
Mhm.
can treat my body and give it what it needs, then I'm going to do it.
Don't see it as a medication. See it as you, because it is bioidentical hormones. That's something that your body is, missing, and it'll say like, "Hello, thank you, finally
Yeah.
you listen," because it
And you know
will
what else?
recognize it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It'll recognize it. And you know what else? And I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a window that you can start HRT. And
Hmm.
once you're in menopause and postmenopause, it doesn't, you can't go back. In other words, once these symptoms have progressed, and I know there's other things like body parts getting very dry, vaginal walls starting to tighten,
Hmm.
that once that happens, that you really, you can't kind of go back. In other words, like late 30s, 40s, you need to know where you're at because 50s and 60s, you're already there. You can't go back and replace the damage that's been done with hormone replacement therapy. That's what I've read, at least in what I've interviewed
Yeah, there is.
people.
Yes, exactly. There is a hormone kind of window, just like you said. The best time to start with them to that is because kind of like yeah, you're helping the body to not say stop, you can, because you can't stop aging, but you can definitely help the body from preventing it from, decline too much, from the beginning. And that's when
Yeah,
your body is taking it in easier. But yes, you
right.
can take um, replacement, hormones in your 50s menopause, because I know that that's a struggle for a lot of women too. That's a whole nother story to help them with, because okay, short story. Women, when they reach menopause, that's a bit different from, perimenopause, from the roller coaster. Because when you are in menopause, your estrogen is low. You don't need to have, in most cases, that high of estrogen replacement therapy like in perimenopausal years, because of the crashes go so low. But in 50s, it's more like it is kind of low. It doesn't do this, it goes like this. It's more supporting your mood and your bones and, all that, and your brain and your thinking, brain health and all that. Um, Another host of other things that's going on. So that's the difference in perimenopause. You don't want to stabilize the roller coaster that's going on there that impacts your brain health, your gut function, your moods, the mood swings, and all that's going on, and the fatigue that comes along with it. Um, and that's why we want to stabilize it. Okay, so there is a difference that happens. And yes, the vaginal dryness, you can definitely have help. I'm losing my voice. Help yourself, from your mid 30s or even after pregnancy, because your hormones are really, really low. You don't want to have sex when you're dry. Hello. Like,
Yeah,
no, it's hurting. Talk to your
yeah.
doctor. Yes. In your premenopausal years and in your menopausal years, there is help. Okay, go get it. You don't need to suffer.
It's true. It's
You
true.
you want your life
Awesome.
back. You want to enjoy your life. You want to enjoy being
Yeah,
you with. If you have a husband, enjoy him or whatever
yeah,
you're doing in your life.
exactly.
You
It's
want to feel
true.
like a woman again. You
Yeah,
don't have to feel like you're drowning and trying to get up, above the water again. It's you don't need to suffer like that.
yeah. Thank you.
Get your life
I love
back.
it. Yay for Anika! And I'm so glad we're sharing this with you guys watching. I hope that this inspires you and that it gives you insight to take a hold of your own health, your own lifespan and trajectory while you're here on this planet, and that you enjoy it to the fullest. We'll see you next time.